All right, hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are back to playing Call of Cthulhu today. We are continuing Eternal Lies, and we are back to having a full group as we got a replacement PC who is, I think, 1/3 the age of our previous PC. Isn't that about right? Is that correct?
It's pretty close. It's close.
Because Pastor was what, like 80, 90? What was he again?
No. It's closer to half than a third, but it's on the bubble.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. He didn't really make a mark. So, anyhow,
you see how Jeff just lights up when he gets to roast me? Like he just,
I just gotta get the energy.
Sunshine glowing.
Gotta get the energy. Gotta get the band going. Gotta get the energy to play. Long, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good, Jeff.
How do you feel? How do you feel about Pastor Wood no longer being in the group? How's Patrick feeling about that? Is he feeling okay? Is he feeling
Quite
good?
tragic that this is like becoming more real. Like we lost somebody.
Yeah, that's a great point. We'll see because we're in Casablanca, and that's a really nice place. And so we'll see in a moment whether or not.
Yeah, I'll forget about him in a second to start partying.
Oh yeah, everyone's just gonna start doing lines of nectar and drinking like crazy, and all of a sudden, hail Cthulhu, and that's the end of the campaign. So. There we go.
Somewhere Pastor Wood is like, wait, now you're all into nectar and you're not hiding it from me anymore? What kind of bullshit is this?
Exactly. Well, you guys are doing some nectar shots in honor of Pastor Wood. Is that what it is? Pastor. How's Bev feeling about the loss of Pastor Wood there, Ashley? How's she feeling?
I think she's greatly stressed. Like Long said, it does kind of bring the reality of the situation because he saved her life from being, shot. And then so did Patrick. Patrick killed, when we first got jumped by the people from Bangkok.
That's true. Well, you don't know they're from Bangkok for sure.
Well, we do because we know they flew there from the airline.
Exactly. Those are two different things. So are you saying that Patrick's going to be the next to go? Is that your theory?
No.
We're taking out anybody who has saved Bev? Okay.
No thanks.
All right. How's Shima feeling about Pastor Wood's demise there, Maitre?
Oh, she is heartbroken. She is she's I don't think she's ever felt more grief. Pastor Wood was kind of a father figure to her, and I think she saw him very differently than I don't really want to finish that sentence, but I think she saw him as the paragon of righteousness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's what, 2 father figures you've basically lost within the past month? Is that what it is? Because one from just emotional distancing. A father figure
and an actual father.
Yeah. Well, these things happen. And Melissa, I mean, I think I know how Melissa is feeling about it, but like, how is Marie feeling about the loss of Pastor Wood?
So I would say that Marie, to be frank, I think in some interactions had been a little flustered by his worldview on things, because I think she had kind of come up in, kind of that like religious background and had moved away from it. And that wasn't where her head was at. But I think that annoyance about some of those things leads her to be then very sad. Because, kind of that like, oh, did he know that I was irritated or annoyed? And like kind of feeling that vibe with his absence.
Gotcha. Okay. And Stephen, how are you feeling about the loss of Pastor Wood? It's been like a month or so now. You're over it, right?
Honestly, like if I don't get to play like 3 characters in a campaign, I get anxious and antsy, and I'm, this is good. I need to keep things fresh.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's great. So that means I got like 2 more. I could take out Will in like
at
a week.
Least. Yes.
Okay. He's not making
I got so many character ideas.
Okay. Do we think, are you all feeling confident about Bangkok? Do we think that we're going to, what do you think the chances are we lose another person?
Oh, like 100%.
Yeah.
Like 100%.
Okay. I don't want to reveal anything. TPK is on the table. That's all I'm saying.
Unlike how you revealed we were walking into an ambush and we still walked into it.
I feel like TPK
just saying.
is always in the table.
No, I meant in Casablanca. It's crazy. Stuff's about to go nuts.
Oh, quick.
Anyhow, I didn't really do a summary for today. So let's just sort of piece it together. Last time around, we all were basically dealing with the ramifications, consequences of Mexico City. You all flew back to Arkham. Everyone completely forgot that Pastor Wood existed. No one decided to write to his family or contact his family until after you were basically shamed into it by Janet Winston Rogers, roughly New Year's Eve, about a month after his death.
Kind of makes them sound like hypocrites when they all say they're sad about it right now.
That's why I was trying to set him up for that. Everyone say all those things and then bam. But yeah, we were back in Arkham for a bit. We kind of checked in on everyone's lives. Things are not going great. We've seen that Beverly is going to get into some trouble because she endangered the life of yet another one of her students that she took on a investigation or a research trip or something like that. Shima fortunately came back alive, but Bev's got a history, and so that could end up getting her to lose her job. At the very least, she's going to be losing her ability to teach, or at least maintain her job over the course of the spring semester, and we'll see what happens. Shima tried to enlist some allies to speak on her behalf, including her coach, including the head of library studies, Cyrus Lanfear, and in doing so promised Mr. Lanfear, Dr. Lanfear, that she would hand over all of the various mythos and interesting texts that she uncovers. So that's kind of interesting. She also, I believe you also didn't tell your parents that you were leaving. You just sort of just noped out. That was it.
Just bounced.
Yeah.
It's not alive. You don't want to say the words.
Yeah, no, totally agree. And so other things we saw, Marie's cat was having some trouble, was very sick, went to the vet. It wasn't really even a vet. It was just a person who's a doctor who happened to do stuff. And turns out you found a small little mouth behind some garbage cans near an alleyway, near your friend Nancy's apartment. But you did bring your cat with you this time, which is interesting. We'll have to keep track of what's going to happen to that cat along the way and how that cat flies. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see who else. Oh, that's right. Patrick Price is no longer engaged, as apparently Anna's father was kind of getting in her ear about how Patrick Price just seems to be doing all these things just just for Janet or whatever. And so finally Patrick was like, no, never mind. Yeah, we're done. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, and didn't you also see Pisner in your barbershop?
He was there.
He was, in fact, there. So who knows? Who knows if you did see him?
What about Mr. Wood?
Mm-hmm. Oh, and then we also had a little moment where we checked in with Pastor Wood's family because I remembered. So I sent Frank Kearns there. Frank Kearns, on behalf of Janet Winston, gave over some cash to kind of help support Obadiah and to also help support the family in their attempts to try to establish an actual church. Maybe in Arizona.
That's right. That's
We'll see.
right.
Are we building up the cinematic universe?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Definitely sounds like we're doing that. Okay. And so that was basically it. Eventually you got called into a meeting with Janet Winston Rogers. You agreed to continue your investigations. New Year's Day, you all got on a plane. It began a very long series of jumps. First over to Newfoundland, then to the Azores, and then finally to Casablanca, where Frank Kearns asked you all to meet him at a cafe / nightclub / restaurant by the name of Les Petites Poussées. And I'm sure that's terrible. And he went off, however, into sort of a lesser, dirtier part of town. And you saw him going into a dive bar where he met young Will Sawyer. And apparently the two of them have a history. And he said that, well, need you for a job. Need you to kind of call in a favor. So we are going to pick up then shortly after that, later that night. We're still in Casablanca. We're going to say we're opening just outside Les Petites, where we can see both Mr. Sawyer and we can see Frank Kearns as the two of them are like walking up to the door. The doors swing open And when we look inside, it's this very lively cafe. It's a vibrant jazz club. We can see that the interior's got this mix of Art Deco and these Moorish designs. We can see this ornate tile work, this modern furniture here and there for 1937. Now we see a group of jazz musicians kind of off on a stage playing around, and people are kind of swaying here and there. A few are actually up and dancing. You also notice that there are all sorts of different patrons that are engaged in these animated conversations, including we see a trio of what looks like French officers in khaki uniforms, probably characteristic to the French Foreign Legion. We see a very well-stocked and colorful bar with all sort of imported wines and liquors. And we can see this bartender with a very thin mustache, not unlike Patrick Price, is kind of mixing cocktails for various locals and foreign visitors and stuff. And we can see the walls are adorned with these black and white photographs of these famous patrons and musicians, and it kind of gives this vibe of a well-traveled locale. In addition to that, we see the existing investigator group sitting down at the table. Maybe you're drinking, maybe you're eating. So go ahead. Why don't all of you describe what do you look like as you're sitting here getting this relaxing dinner, listening to this music? We're just going to start with Marie and maybe do a quick assessment of the musicians that are playing for us.
So I would say that Marie will sit down to eat really only as long as it takes to, kind of inhale this food, because the photographs on the wall are obviously getting her attention. And so she is, even if it means sort of scooching around people and, oh, Dira, I'm so sorry. Would you mind? And stepping around people to make sure that she views every single photograph that is in this establishment.
No doubt you see in many of them faces of musicians and singers and performers, also some kind of celebrity of the day that you definitely recognize, but also politicians. You can see politicians and travelers and things like that are popping up left and right. You are probably getting a little catcalled every now and then from the guys that are sitting around that French Foreign Legion table and stuff, and like they're kind of looking up at you, but you can't quite make out exactly what they're saying because they're always kind of shouting out at you in French. But you probably know what they're saying. You're a jazz singer after all. More than once, you can see that the musicians that are on the stage give you kind of a subtle nod here and there and smile, but it's more like a sort of a respectful nod, as you seem to be focusing in on some of the photographs that actually depict musicians, and so maybe they kind of catch that as they go. Okay, what about Shaima? What's Shaima doing?
I think Shaima is trying very hard to not let the excitement kind of burst out of her. She's practically vibrating in her seat. But she's got this wide-eyed, taking everything in, super energetic energy, even if she's trying very hard to not do that, but she's got this big smile on. Just like every scent and every sound and every sight, like her eyes just kind of darting around and she's taking everything in. I would say that it's quite clear that she's incredibly excited about being here.
Do you have anything in front of you? Do you have any large drink, maybe something colorful, maybe something with absinthe or a sugar cube sticking out of it?
Definitely. It's she's asked the bartender in French, actually.
Bonjour, madame.
And she will reply in French and ask for his recommendation, something colorful.
Okay. So he will turn back around. See what I got for colorful. Okay. So this one's not as colorful, but what he'll basically do is he'll turn around, he'll take some absinthe, he'll take a sugar cube, he'll drop the sugar cube in it, but then you'll also see him rim around the glass with some kind of you're not sure if it's colorful sugar or if it's just something else, kind of creates this little, almost like a, what's it called? Like a tinsel effect on the outside as he slides it over to you, and you see this tiny little almost like a foam of mist kind of come up, and he kind of slides it over to you, and he says, "Enjoy, madame. Welcome."
And it's just like practically screaming.
And you can tell that he is very happy that you are happy, but also like the excitement is pretty intense for him. Like you can see that he's like, "Oh my, that is more than I have bargained for." Okay.
So she's trying to keep together.
And it's like Shima sits down with this fancy ass cocktail. Bev, what about you? What are you looking like, and what are you doing?
Bev is sitting at her table and she's eating very slowly as she's reading over her little notebook with Thai notes that she has in there from her training.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's just doing like a refresher as she's eating, and she's smoking. So she's got like one of those fancy dishes next to her that she sets her cigarette in, and she, eats, and then she smokes again. But she's wearing a very not her normal, because normally she's pretty sultry and dressed up.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a pretty plain face for the day, where it's just like highlights like her natural features.
Mm-hmm.
And like travel clothes more than anything.
Okay. Are you drinking, you think? Or are you just eating?
Oh, she's just eating at this point and smoking.
Okay. So you probably got like some sort of like chicken braised and like red wine. You see like these beautiful mushrooms and onions and things like that kind of spread out. And it's luxurious French style cooking. And maybe with a hint of kind of local flair, like blended and infused with it. And more than once, you can see that one of those like French Foreign Legion officers kind of looks back at you, and you can see this man, probably middle-aged. You would probably put him in his late 40s or so. He's definitely got kind of a salt and pepper kind of look going on, where you can see his temples has a little bit of gray and white, but the rest of his hair is very slick, combed over black, and he's got a kind of a grizzled look to him in some way. You can tell that he's not super clean shaven, and he's not got a beard, but maybe he's got like a day old bit of stubble and a very hefty mustache, not thin and well groomed like the bartender or like Patrick. And more than once he like kind of holds up a drink to you, and when he sees that you're like just drinking something that's non-alcoholic, you can see he's just got a very French frown. Oh, no. And more than once he's like trying to motion like he wants to buy you one. And are you like kind of shaking him off, waving him off?
I think she would have like the first time, but then if he offered again and then offered to dance with her, she would dance.
Okay. So we'll say at this point, you've taken the first drink from him, and he's like looks over at you, and you're like holding, like he like kind of cheers you from afar at this point, and like the two guys that are sitting with him are kind of like jovially like kind of like egging him on to go walk over. But that's when we turn over and we see that sitting next to you, perhaps, or somewhere else in this cafe, we've got Patrick Price. Long, what is he dressed up any differently? You doing anything in particular? What do you think?
I'm looking a bit disheveled. Some parts of my hair aren't combed down correctly. Got bags under my eyes. My shirt is coming untucked in some parts. And I'm slouched over the table, pretty much one-shotting a bunch of martinis. And the music in the room is a bit garbled, like I'm underwater, so it sounds weird to me. I'm just...
And maybe you don't even hear maybe you just don't even really hear like the buzz of like a waiter. Like, Monsieur, would you care for another? Monsieur?
Yeah, keep them coming.
Oui. And so he kind of turns around and then like, comes back with another. You see like the waiter and the bartender have like a little bit exchange, and they kind of turn back and look at you, and like they're trying to assess like what's going on. But nonetheless, you're a paying customer, so they bring over yet another one. It's 1937. Indulgence is perfectly allowed here. And then finally, we see walking into the joint, we can see old Frankie Kearns. He's still got his pilot bomber jacket on. Hasn't really changed much, but you can see he's just sort of buttoned up the top button of his shirt to try to look a little bit more presentable. And standing next to him is Will Sawyer. So Stephen, go ahead and give us another recap of what he looks like as we walk in.
Yeah. Will Sawyer, he's young. He's got the baby face. He's got the bowl cut with like the split bangs there. And he probably would have cleaned up before coming to the cafe. So before he was wearing like this sort of like exploration military style clothing. He would be wearing a tuxedo now if he knew that they were coming to the cafe. He'd be wearing a white tuxedo and everything. And he cleaned himself up. He made himself look all prim and proper. And he'd be excited to be here. Like, we saw him in a dive bar, but he's equally happy to drink no matter where he is.
Sure.
And I think he would immediately start scanning the bar and then turn to Kearns. Frank, I'm sorry. I know we got business, but there's someone I got to talk to. I will catch up with you in just a few minutes.
Hey, kid,
I'll be back. And I start walking.
And you see, he like shakes his head, and you can tell just by the look on his face that he is regretting inviting you to this team, as he makes his way over to where Patrick and Bev are sitting down, as like Shaima is now sitting down as well. Yeah.
Actually, I would have beaten him there because I would have headed straight over to Patrick. I would have beelined right to Patrick.
Okay.
And I would drag a seat from a nearby table and sit down next to Patrick. Bonjour, monsieur. Mon français n'est pas très bon. Connaître votre nom?
Bonjour. The seat's taken, kid. We're waiting on somebody.
I knew you were French. I could tell. Someone as handsome as you had to be. You from Paris?
No, from the States.
Oh, have you been to Paris? It's the most beautiful city in the world. You would fit right in.
Sure it is. Love to go there someday.
I could take you. I've been there before. My friend's a pilot.
What a coincidence. So's mine.
Oh, it's a small world. What brings you over to a little Casablanca, nice little cafe like this?
Meeting somebody.
Oh, who are you meeting? No one important, I hope.
No, it's going to be a lot of importance on this.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Can I ask how long you've known him?
We haven't known him at all.
Oh, all right. Well, you just met me, and I'd say I'm quite important.
You say so.
I assume Kearns isn't actually that far behind at this point.
Oh yeah, I would say he's right there. I wanted to let you keep going. And so at that point, like, he catches up and he's like, all right, so I see you guys have already met. Hey, listen, Patrick, this is Will. Will, this is Patrick. This is one of the guys I was telling you about, Will. This is Dr. Key. And he kind of turns over to Dr. Key. And he's like, hey, Shaima. Hey, there she is. As you like come back with another one of your absinthe drinks and sitting down, eyes wide, as like coming over top of it. He's like, oh, careful there, kiddo, careful there. This is Will.
Do you want one of these, Mr. Gross?
Oh no, that's way too fancy for me. That's way too. I'll get something in a second. I just figured I'd make introductions first. Where's Miss Wynn? Well, there she is. Miss Wynn. Miss Wynn. He kind of calls out.
Yes, Mr. Kearns.
If you could come over here for a second. He kind of just waves you, and like you're like calling out across this cafe. It's not a huge place, so like it's kind of wild. And all of you are kind of underdressed compared to Will, as well as really in this fancy tuxedo. And there's other people that are dressed very nicely. And so, but Frank Kearns still looks like he's a pilot, right? He's still got his bomber jacket on. He kind of looks over towards Will. He's like, kid, you didn't have to dress up so much, but anyhow. Everybody, this is Will Sawyer. He and I go back a ways. He's a good kid. I figure you all need a little bit of extra, savvy, muscle. He's got a little bit of everything. Not great at any one thing, but good at a lot of things. And he's probably a little too good at getting you into trouble. Now that I'm remembering. Maybe this was a bad idea. Anyhow.
Well, Patrick, it sounds like you were meant to meet me tonight after all.
You're him.
I'm him. Sure. It's a pleasure.
Patrick, darling, he's interested.
Is he?
Yes.
I'm also very interesting. We could have a conversation about it.
That's what the night's for.
Let me get us drinks. What are you drinking?
It's a couple of martinis.
Do any of us
martini
know
glasses
that
in
the
front of
engagement is off? Or do we still
that's a great
think
question.
that Patrick Price is engaged to Anna?
Has this come up, Patrick?
You know me toying with the ring on the table, like rolling around my fingers. I look troubled, so it could come up.
I mean, and if it's like, is it like an engagement ring? Is that what you had? Like some kind of promise ring that you gave to her? And so you have, so the fact that he has it in his hand and she's not wearing it would probably be, if any of you are paying, like, are like savvy observers might notice that. Yeah. Okay. So basically Kern says, listen, I figure we got a lot of travel to do. We got to get in the air tomorrow. We got to head over to Cairo. We got a long way to go. We still got a few days before we get off to Siam. So I just figured it'd be a good idea. Maybe get to know one another. I haven't really told Will the whole story. I've told him enough for now. And I figure if anyone can get him up to speed, it's the four of you. So why don't I go ahead and get those drinks for you, and I'll let the five of you talk. And so he like puts a hand on Will's shoulder, and he leans down, and his head kind of turning away from the group, but so that you can still hear it. Don't make me regret this, kid. And then he heads over to the bar.
Will is
Turn it over to you guys. Yeah, I turn it over to you guys. So what happens now? What's this conversation like?
Yeah, Frank knows you. You must be a good kid.
Well, I get into trouble at time to time, but for the most part, I'm a good kid.
Marie will be kind of moving people around and to sit down, and she is going to like make sure that Shaima sits on the other side of Will. So like Will and Patrick are having a conversation, but Marie's gonna like move Shaima next to Will and like pull a chair out for her and sit her there, and then kind of situate herself a little bit away.
All right, listen, I know that, Frank wants us to be all business and, we're in a jazz cafe. We should be having fun. Patrick, would you like to dance with me?
Not one for dancing right now.
Well, how about you then? And I turn to Shaima.
I would love to.
It would be my pleasure. And I stand up and I take her hand and I start walking away from the table.
Okay. And it's around this point, Bev, that I think your French Foreign Legion officer comes over and he's like, Madame, would you care to dance with me? It seems as though your friends... And he looks kind of over to where Shaima and Will are dancing. And then as Will kind of turns, you can see the face of this officer suddenly. Sacre bleu. I beg your pardon, madame. One moment. And you can see he like, even if you whisper something, he just like moves past, and like Will and Shaima are just dancing. Will, give me a spot hidden test, and I would want a hard success.
All right. My spot hidden is so much lower with Will than it was with Pastor Wood, and this upsets me because that's my favorite skill.
Fantastic.
Oh, that's close though. 26 under 45. So I'd have to spend 3 points of luck. Four? I'll spend 4 points of luck to make it hard.
Okay. You catch it right as the last second as you see this man in his probably late 40s in a French Foreign Legion uniform, just moving with purpose right towards you. And you see right as you're like spinning Shaima around, you see his fist is just coming right at your head, allowing you to kind of just duck under the way. And he just stumbles into the dance floor. And suddenly we hear like the musicians, like they skip a beat for a second, but they immediately come back to it. And then you hear the sounds of screeching chairs. And you look over, the two other guys that were sitting at the table have now gotten up and they have started to surround Will. And so like this is all happening like in the middle of the dance floor. People are trying to like back away from you. You can see other people who are dancing, and then you could see like the musicians are kind of making strange looks at each other, and they're trying to signal. Like the pianist is like got one hand down and is trying to wave down the like the bartender, and then the guy turns around, and his hair at this point is slightly askew as he lost his balance, and he's pissed. His face is red, and he just hurls a litany of insults at you. Who speaks French?
I speak French, and
I do.
would also like to do some physical of him, right? But
let's let this go for a second before you jump in like that. As he just starts hurling all of these horrific, like just coward, deserter, like you little rat, you can dress up a pig in a tuxedo, but you're still a pig, and stuff like that at will. As now all three of them are beginning to surround him, and like the other two aren't really saying anything, but the guy with the sort of turned over hair is like up in your face, and he's just yelling at this point. Will, how do you react? In
very poor French with a very much American accent, which probably infuriates him even more, I respond, whoa, you clearly are mistaking me for someone else. I don't know what's going on here.
You deserter, you pig. You are supposed to. We know exactly who you are, your little baby face.
And he's like right up in your face now, and he's like referencing like jobs, he's referencing like other people, and these are all names, Will, that you probably recognize.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I just got here on a plane like just 3 hours ago. I look at my wrist. I'm not even wearing a watch. I don't know who this person is. There's no.
I'm going to drag you before your commanding officer, and you're going to be held accountable. Is what you are.
And so now, at this point, as this exchange is happening, all of you can see it happening. Shami, you're right up there, and you can hear the specifics of the exchange. So now, Shami, what would you want to do?
I'm gonna get in the sort. Sorry, I think you must be mistaken.
No. I'm sorry, madame. I apologize for my behavior. But this is a deserter and a rat, and you should not waste your time, your breath, your beauty on him. He is just a foul creature. He will turn on you when you need him most.
And she kind of looks over at the table, sort of kind of pleadingly, like having no idea what to do except like if I would want to put him in an armbar, but that's probably not a really good idea.
Unless you want to go to jail in Casablanca, you go right ahead.
She's kind of just looking over at them kind of pleadingly.
Okay, so Bev, Patrick, Marie, how are you all reacting?
This Will's an interesting fella. I'll try to get up, stumbling.
Bev, to what he says, she takes a long drag. He's already trouble.
Marie will get up and see if she can kind of grab one of the other ones that was around. Just in the charming way that she does.
Okay, I was gonna say grab how?
Sorry.
Like hand on the arm, or like arm bar, like Shaiba was talking about.
Just kind of hand in the crook of the arm. Oh, it's the new year. It's too early in the new year to be dealing with grudges, and she'll see if she can kind of steer him away a little bit in her
give me a charm test.
Way.
Yeah, give me a charm test. Sure.
Yes.
I have a charm of 80, and I rolled a 40. So
it's a hard success. And so the one that you kind of put your arm on, he like whirls around, and at first it looked like it was just like instinct. Then he sees who it is, and like his face changes. He's got this kind of long, angular face. He's got a fairly pronounced nose, but you can tell like there's a sharpness to his eyes. Clean shaven, but when he sees you, that like kind of hawkish face suddenly goes wide with a grin, and he's like, "Oh, bonjour, madame. Very sorry. Yeah, Captain Monroe is just a very, he is very angry. Captain Monroe, Louis, why are we doing this? It is New Year. And he turns around. And he like kind of your hands on his, and he her hands on his arm, so he grabs her hand and kind of pulls it around and just pulls you into a dance at that point, and just starts dancing around as you've managed to lure one away. And like the captain's still like enraged. I do not care what it is. No, I will not. This needs to be satisfied. We need to take him before. He is a deserter. He is a pig. He is a rat.
Hold on. We can get to the bottom of this. Like, who are you looking for?
I am looking for, and check your notes really fast here. Hang on. Do you have your name in here? Your real name?
I went by Will Sawyer at the time.
Okay, so you are Sawyer, and you were, I think, Sergeant, right? Sergeant Sawyer, yes?
Oh, no. I don't know what you're talking about.
Sergeant Sawyer,
my name's Tom
boy
Ford.
face. Tom Ford. You are not Tom Ford, you are Will Sawyer, you are Sergeant Sawyer with your baby face and your blonde locks.
I mean, thank you, but like, a lot of us Americans look the same, so clearly you must be mistaken. It happens a lot, so don't feel bad about it.
Give me a fast talk, and I'm gonna.
This is when the other shoe drops for Shima, and she like steps out of the way because she had been between the captain and this guy, and she genuinely thought that she was like defending Will Sawyer, and it's like, oh,
I'm not Will
he's
Sawyer.
Just straight up
Tom
lying. I'm like, all right.
Okay, fast talk, and you're gonna need an extreme success to convince.
Hell yes, I rolled a 5.
Okay.
5 under 70.
And so it's like, Tom Ford. No,
Tom Ford.
you are Will Sawyer. No, you are Sergeant Sawyer. You have the.
No. Come on, let me buy you a drink. I'll tell you all about my childhood.
Yeah, and
You'll
like,
understand.
Smacks her hand away as you like maybe try to like handshake. He's, no, you are. And then the third guy that Marie didn't pull away, he kind of puts his hand and he kind of whispers. And he's like, he might be right. Sawyer was much prettier than this one. This one, he looks tired and old. So, no, I think we might be mistaken. Captain, just get a drink. Just get a drink. Look. Jean is off dancing. Let's go. Let us dance as well. Come. And like the captain just sort of,
goes to the bar and maybe brushes past him and like gives him a glance over her shoulder as she goes toward her to try and further divert attention.
So the captain, with his hair kind of messed up at this point, face a little bit red but starting to recede, kind of looks over at his like lieutenant, and then he kind of looks over at like Bev, and then he looks at Tom Ford. Are you ever in the French Foreign Legion?
French for. I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure what that is. Is that like the Boy Scouts back home?
And he was just about to turn towards Bev, and he turns back to you. What did you say?
I'm curious. Is that like the Boy Scouts where you like go out camping and you sing Kumbaya? And...
No, it is not like the Boy Scouts where you sing Kumbaya.
Oh, I'm sorry. That kind of uniform you're wearing, that's the kind of thing we'd wear to camp.
The other guy shakes his head, and then suddenly there's a big swing right into your stomach by the captain, who is just getting ready to leave. Okay,
that's getting cold.
Yeah, you go ahead.
All right. Okay, just a regular success, 47 under 50.
Okay, I have a hard, so I rolled a 7.
I deserve this.
Yeah, you definitely deserve this one. You're getting out of it. You're totally getting out of it. You get 3 points of damage.
Indeed. Why,
you
Stephen?
get 3 points of damage as you are just slugged right in the stomach at this point.
That is what we learn in the Foreign Legion. Do they teach that in Boy Scouts?
And at that point, he like slicks his hair back, and he starts walking away.
I straighten up my tuxedo as best I can. Also, slick my hair back a little bit, fix it. Head back to the table to sit next to Patrick. Patrick, do you think I look old?
No, Tom Ford.
Thank you. How about those drinks?
They're already here. Looks like you can handle yourself.
The whole time, I like to think Frank Kearns was just like sitting at the bar, like sipping on a cognac, just like looking at you and just kind of shaking your head.
Yeah, I think I made a bad choice here. Oh, jeez.
So we'll say that the night continues as you all kind of get to personally know one another a little bit. There's some dancing, there's some drinking, there's some some food, joviality to some degree. At some point, the cafe certainly starts to thin out. You can tell that the musicians also kind of take some breaks here and there. The Foreign Legion soldiers, you see they depart. Maybe Bev, you get a dance with them, maybe you don't. Marie, they like bid you adieu, like the one that you were dancing with, the kind of the hawk-faced boy. And eventually in the cafe, it's really just all of you and maybe like a couple other people like off in the corner. The musicians have stopped playing. It's definitely like kind of a last call sort of feel. Like you probably aren't here for that long. Some of you might be tipsy and drunk. In this moment, as it's been kind of a more jovial last hour or two, do you guys talk about anything else more specifically? Because I think Kearns was sort of
tell us to talk business,
waiting for you all to introduce it and not him, because he is just the pilot. So as things are kind of winding down, what was some of like the last conversations for the night look like?
Some of the things you'll see, you go crazy. So what do you say? You still in?
Yeah, I'm in.
It will be unlike anything your worst nightmare has ever been. And Marie will probably try to push Will a little bit. And so she'll really, in a not particularly ladylike fashion, describe the end that Pastor Wood found himself in. Like she's a little bit older, and this has been tiring on everyone, and so she really wants to push him and make sure, my boy, Patrick is exactly right, but it is beyond what you can imagine. Are you up for this? And she'll describe kind of what was seen beneath Jonathan Brooks, and like kind of just the horror of all of that. You do not be flippant about this. The horrors are beyond.
Could I ask for a persuade check to see how well you are at explaining this? Because Will's reaction would be to be flippant and nonchalant and just, not believe you.
Yeah, absolutely. So my persuade is 73. And let's see what I roll. I roll a 35. So quick math here. And I'll spend a little bit of luck. Oh, it is a hard. Anyway, yeah. Sorry, bad at math. So yeah, hard success.
Yeah, so Will would, like, as you're talking about this, you'd see that he's like not paying attention. His eyes are still kind of wandering around the cafe, but then you say a little bit more and then a little bit more, and his focus does start moving towards you, and he does start actually actively listening. Now, I've had some fun in my days. I've seen some strange things, but what you're talking about doesn't seem possible.
Really, my boy, I say this not to frighten you away. Clearly, Mr. Kearns puts faith in you if he were to bring you into our employ. I do just want to make sure, my boy, that you go into this eyes wide open.
As Marie and Patrick have been saying this, maybe you notice this, maybe you don't, but Shami's kind of absently rubbing this henna design on her hand that she's never had before, just on her left hand with a few flowers coming off of a very simple vine. And she kind of is rubbing that. She will say to Will, it's not just what you'll see, it's what you'll probably have to do. You might kill a lot of people.
I'm not scared of dying. I can't say I fully believe everything you've said, but I can tell you believe it, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful. End of the day, I owe Frank. I owe him big. He says you need help. He says there's pay. I'll help. I'm in.
I just want to clarify that this is more important than clearing a debt. This is greater than all of us. If any of this comes to pass, if these old gods truly do exist and are able to be brought to this world, the whole world is doomed. It's not just us. It's not just Arkham, Casablanca, Bangkok. It's everywhere would be doomed.
Saving the world, eh? Fortune and glory?
But we probably won't get the fortune, some fortune, but I doubt glory. This is under the table. We're the night shift, essentially.
I can't say I'm very good at keeping things under wraps, but who doesn't want to save the world?
And Marie's face would soften a bit because, like, she is usually charming, is usually her way. But she definitely sort of felt this, like, okay, we signed up for this, and he appears a little young. But once he's still on board and still, like, you'll sort of see her kind of soften a little bit and kind of look around to everyone and just, well, I do believe we've given him the worst of it, and he still wants to travel with us. Should we have him?
Just one more thing, Will. What baggage are you bringing on? What's that French Legion stuff?
Oh, that's nothing to worry about. I left the Legion. It was a mutual decision. My CO didn't want me there anymore, and I didn't want to be there anymore.
Okay.
We just
And
forgot to file some paperwork, is all.
what is the debt exactly that you owe Kearns?
Oh, I don't think. You asked Frank about that. I wouldn't want to, help you pry into anything he doesn't want known.
But we'll ask him about it. Let's get ready for tomorrow.
Yeah, we have a long plane ride.
Okay. So we'll say that we fade out of that. We see everybody making their way back to Hotel Excelsior, where you've gotten rooms for the night at the behest of Janet Winston Rogers. Likely we've maybe split a few here and there. So maybe like Patrick's got one, maybe like Bev and Shime have another, maybe Marie has one. And you kind of pass through again. It's got this sort of French colonial vibe, but as you move around inside, you can see a lot of the affectation has these Moroccan influences here and there, especially with like some of the tapestries and the carpets and stuff like that. And you can see it's all very high end, and it's all a beautiful and very extravagant hotel. The rooms themselves, they have like 4 poster beds. They got these big French windows that are opening up onto these small balconies. You can see like the entirety of the city kind of sprawling out, but it's also very late at night. And one by one, you all begin to kind of sleep back, head back to your rooms. And then we focus on Will and Frank, who are walking through the hallway of whatever floor that Frank has gotten a room and kind of invited you to stay. And he looks to you, Will, and he's like, kid, listen, I know you said a lot of things back there with him, but listen, if it's too much, you can get out. Like, I won't say nothing. I'll say something came up. I'll say those French guys came back and took you away. So, and he's just kind of like standing there, like he's got the key in the door, and he's sort of looking back at you. He's saying this. It's like, all I gotta do is just say the word. It's no problem. We'll find a different way for you to pay me back.
Do I look like a coward or something? Why is everyone trying to talk me out of this?
Well, I just think that it's kind of hard to explain exactly what's been going on. It's the kind of thing you got to see to understand, And you hear the click of the doorknob, and then you see the door swing open. And what should be a beautiful, extravagant interior of a hotel room, you instead see Frank takes a step into something out of Nightmare. Well, you can see he just sort of steps onto this pulsing floor. You can see what looks like fangs and teeth are hanging down from a ceiling, you presume. You can see there are these tongues that are lolling and writhing around where there should be curtains. You can see saliva and some other substance just dripping down the walls. And you now look at the outline of the door frame, and you can see that there's 1,000 tiny teeth. And Frank just looks back at you as if he doesn't notice any of this at all. And kid, I don't think you're a coward. Like I said, it's just I haven't even seen half of what they've seen. I mean, I've read the documents Miss Rogers has told me about, what her father and her father's folks did. But yeah, when I met those folks, they were normal folks, and I look at them now, and they look like they all aged like 20 years. And he's talking, and you see one of these.
What the hell is going on?
What do you mean what's going on? And there's like this tongue that is now wrapping around his legs and kind of up to his thighs.
Jesus, Frank. And I go and I grab and I try to pull him back in the hallway.
And right as you reach forward, the door slams shut and you wake up, or at least you come back to awareness, or you're standing in the middle of a hallway staring at a hotel room door with no Frank, no one else around you. I need you to roll a sand test, by the way.
Okay, we're coming in hard.
Oh dear.
Okay, that's a 29 under 50.
Okay. 1 point of sand. This is your first experience with this kind of stuff, so it's still going to be a 1 point of sand loss on this. But you're standing in the middle of the hallway. The door is right there in front of you. What do?
I take a couple steps back, and I turn, looking back the way I came, as if I'm going to just completely walk away. And I stop. And I go back to the door, and I have to open it and see what's on the other side.
Okay. How do you want to open it, dear? Are you doing the
first
throw your shoulder into it? It is locked, so not uncommon. It's a hotel room.
I don't think I took lock picking, but I probably should have, knowing how Patrick gets me in trouble with that. Yeah, I'd throw my shoulder into it.
All right. Just give me a strength test. Just to see if you could do this without hurting yourself. That's really all it is.
I'm small and wiry. But I got a 39 under 50.
Okay. You knock the door down, and it swings open, and you see you're in a beautiful room, way better than the one that you've been staying in, wherever you've been staying. And you can see over on the dresser, there is a big old bowl of water, and there is Frank Kearns. He got his shirt off. He's got his pilot jacket off, and he's got a towel kind of wrapped around, like right on his shoulders. And he kind of turns around to you, and he's got a straight razor in his hand, and there's sunlight coming through the curtains. And he's like, "What the hell's wrong with you, Will? Jesus Christ, you could just knock next time."
Sorry. I think I'm still a little drunk.
Little drunk, man. The hell? I brought you. I dropped you off at your room like 9 hours ago. What are you talking about? Did you go out again, kid? We got like. You don't want to drink and then go up in this plane for a really long time. Come on, man. Like, this is. You gotta take this seriously. There's people's lives on the line here.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I think I lost my room key. Can I just crash on your bed real quick till we go?
What? We gotta go. What are you talking about? Go get ready.
Never mind. You're right.
We gotta go to the airport.
I'm good. Yeah. I'll meet you out front in a bit.
Don't make. Oh man. All right, out front. You crazy little kid. And he slams the door behind you, and you like hear the same shudder of the slam as when you saw it in your small vision. Shortly thereafter, everyone meets at the airport. We are once more grouped up together. You can see the Silver Lance is what it's called. You can see a freshly shaved Frank Kearns and everyone else fresh from their enjoyment of the night. It's late or mid-morning, we'll say, something like maybe a 10 a.m. kind of thing. So you had time probably to get breakfast and get your stuff settled. It wasn't like a super early departure. But we see everyone kind of climb in into the plane. We see Frank Kearns go up to the cockpit and kind of taxis out into the runway, and then off we go. And then we once more go to our Indiana Jones montage travel scene, and we see like the somewhat translucent map of the world, specifically focusing in on like Northern Africa and the Mediterranean right now, as we see this like red line draw from Casablanca and like Morocco, Northwestern Africa, kind of across eastwardly until we kind of see it. We see it over by Cairo, and then we kind of see a slight curve, and it starts to travel even further. And we see Karachi, British India, and then we see kind of curve again ever so slightly. We see it go to Burma, and then finally we see it once more, the final leg. We see it eventually reach and get to Siam. And the next time we see everybody, a couple days have passed. You spent some time in and out of the plane. You probably maybe had 1 or 2 nights of stay. Otherwise, maybe just not even a night of stay, but rather just maintenance stops and refueling stops. But it's been a few days. I'm going to say by the time you guys get to Bangkok itself, I'm going to call it January 7th. because I don't want to call it January 6th. So let's call it January 7th as you all eventually land. It's in the, I should have looked up how to pronounce this, the Dongming airport. You can see that Frank, as he always does, when he lands, he sort of taxis you. You guys get taxied over outside of some kind of hangar, and then he helps you all get out with your luggage. But he's right outside the plane at this point, and you can see there's a few attendants, and he's coming up, and he's kind of exchanging a few words with. It's somewhat English here and there, but also you can tell that Frank has traveled decently, and occasionally throws in like a bit of French at times. And he comes back to you all, and you're standing around, you've got your luggage and things like that. And he's like, all right, so
I guess here we go again, right? You all fixed and ready? You ready to go?
We're flying as always, Frank. We'll get our footings here in Thailand.
Hey, I do the easy part. You guys got the hard part. So I don't know where you plan on staying, but if you head over, to the terminals there, you can probably find some sort of ground transport. And deep into the city, there's I don't know where you want to stay. I don't have any particular leads this time. If Janet didn't really give me too much, but obviously keep your receipts and we'll see what she's willing to pay for. There's the Oriental, obviously, everyone loves. But if you want to kind of try to keep it lower, there's always the Trocadero. You could try that. I haven't been here in 10 years, so I'm going to kind of leave it sort of up to you. Anyhow, I'll if you need to get in touch with me, I'll eventually find you, and I'll let you know where I end up. But I'll probably make it over the Trocadero, I think. And you can tell he's kind of flustered and a little nervous. He's kind of looking towards Will every now and then. All right, well, good luck. Okay, I gotta go get this bird in a bay. And oh yeah,
thank you, Mr. Kearns.
Yeah. And he's sort of like waving you off, like it's almost like irritating to actually hear you guys thank him. And then he departs.
Will would have been like off away from the group a few steps and just watching everything around, barely even listening to Frank saying goodbye. See you, Frank.
Mm-hmm. You too. Keep your nose clean.
Of course.
I
start walking away.
Okay. So you guys are in the new location. So we're gonna call it a late morning start on the day. You're in the airport itself, or at the airport. Like I always like to do, just some general questions in terms of what you want to do for your lodgings. We don't have to get too specific with it, but like, are you looking for a really fancy, nice stay? Are you looking for something a little seedy or off the beaten path that might be not high quality, but maybe less eyes? Or are you looking for something kind of in between? What are we thinking?
Has Dr. Key or Shima shared what's going on with the university and everything? Do we think that information has got shared?
Yeah.
Because we've been used to Dr. Key kind of being the money bags.
Yeah. I think Shima has kind of fallen all over herself, apologizing about getting Dr. Key in trouble, and I'm sure Mr. Price and Ms. Wynn have seen or heard that.
Dr. Key, we certainly should not stretch your generosity given how uncertain your employment futures are.
No, but you heard Frank Kearns said Janet will take care of it.
Yeah, we don't want to go to some dive.
He said Janet might take care of it.
Dollar goes a lot further here.
As with everything, Shima is very typically not getting involved in conversations about money. Just letting all of you decide.
Somewhere cheaper would probably be best. Less eyes. Our previous excursions, we have picked nice places and we have been noticed, and maybe we should try and blend in more.
We sure did bump into trouble very quick in Mexico City. Perhaps we were a little
it's not every day that
this time.
American Planes drops off 5 Americans for a trip in Bangkok. I feel like if someone wanted to notice us, they'd already notice us here at the airport. So we might as well stay somewhere nice.
The Oriental sounds nice.
Sounds like a plan.
With that being said, Will mentioning that we're probably being noticed, Marie had been very focused on the group. And so with Will saying that, she will want to look around and see if bunch of Americans are being noticed.
Sure. And we'll assume some of this conversation is obviously you all like moving off of the runway area and the hangar kind of into the terminal area. And you can see that it's a relatively busy place. You can definitely tell that there is a not insignificant amount of Western like visitors coming in, European probably. But Marie, you can go ahead and make a spot hidden.
All right, so I'm trying to roll under 72, and I rolled a 64.
Okay. As far as you can tell, you are periodically getting eyes from folks, but you realize you think it's more of they're assessing you for a mark more than anything else. You can see there's some folks who are kind of looking at you and maybe coming over and offering like chauffeur service or like translation service and stuff like that. And so they're kind of coming up to you like trying to show you all the fine spots, or they're kind of coming up to you and they're saying like, I'll drive you anywhere. So those types of things. You don't see anyone looking at you in kind of like a threatening way. But yeah, definitely some that you're less sure if they're gonna like they might be trying to like just see you as a foreign mark coming in that they could take advantage of.
Americans.
Rich Americans. Classic.
Well, Mr. Price and Mr. Sawyer, it sounds like you have made our choice. Get us some directions and lead the way. And she is carrying a bag, and this always seems like such a bother for her to be carrying this bag.
I'll carry your bag for you if that's a problem. I gotta say though, you've called me Mr. Sawyer, you've called me my boy. My name's Will. Just call me Will.
Will, yes, of course. My Will, yes. If you would want to carry my bag, lady will certainly not pass that down. And she'll take this, carpet bag kind of thing that she's got going on, and we'll just sort of plop it onto your shoulder.
Yeah, he'll take it along with his duffel. He packs fairly light.
Marie does not.
And I'll go off and find some sort of service to shuttle us.
Okay, you absolutely could find. Are you trying to specifically go? Are you looking to go to the Oriental? This is actually a real hotel, by the way. So, are you actually looking to go there? I think it eventually became like the Mandarin Oriental, but I think it's like at this time. I think that's what I think I got it right. So, if I got it wrong, let me know. Is that where you really want to go? It really is a fancy place.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, you do eventually find.
I worked in luxury hospitality, and it's just so like I know the vendor.
This is like. Okay, so you eventually find yourselves not just any old, but an actual like chauffeur. Like when you mention the idea that you want to go to this hotel, like you're directed, and there are like private chauffeurs that are interested in like taking specific clientele to this hotel, and so you all pile in to this vehicle, and the guy kind of turns around to you and speak. It definitely speaks with a British accent. So you say, "Welcome. First time in Siam, or are you returning?"
First time. You got to show us all the sights.
No. Well, first, why don't we get yourselves situated? And have first time you're going to love it here. There's so many just wonderful sights that are just not available to us in the Western world. And the hotel, oh my goodness, what an achievement of architecture. The hospitality team is just beyond reproach. And so he's constantly like looking back and talking to you, and you see just swerving this way, swerving that, and not really paying too much attention to the road. And eventually, you all get led. You're along the river. You get out. There's like this sort of bloom of water and flowers and such. You can see there's all sorts of boat traffic as well. And you can see like down the ways from the hotel, there's like various vendors along the water here and there. The hotel itself, extraordinarily elegant. It's got some colonial style architecture here and there. Got some balconies and some pillars and such. And you can see out front, there are all these manicured gardens and the river behind. And he pulls you right up
to these ornate looking, like this sort of like ornate looking opening, this beautiful archway that kind of goes into the hotel itself. And he gets out and he kind of comes around and opens up so the boot so that you can get your stuff out, and you can see somebody else, an attendant comes and kind of helps at this point. And then the chauffeur comes over to Patrick Price and holds out his hand. "Well, I hope my services were perfectly adequate." And he looks at you with his hand out as if he's wait.
You've got us where we need to be. I'll give him the allotted amount.
The allotted amounts.
Perfect.
The allotted
Skip the pleasantries.
I give him a reasonable tip.
Give me a credit rating roll.
Okay.
Patrick Price.
Got 40 credits.
Okay, it's not bad.
It's decent.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Oh,
Rolled a 58, but I've got luck to spend, so I'll drop 18.
Okay, so I'll say you don't cause a faux pas immediately upon arrival, and you are able to hand over. I doubt you went to any sort of money changer, so you're probably, or maybe you did. You guys knew you were coming, so maybe you had some sort of money changing thing going on. So you hand over the item. "Oh, very good, sir. That is very good." And he kind of directs you inside at that point. Gets back into the car and he kind of drives back and around. When you go in, you see that inside, there's these beautiful teak floors, and they're all polished and glistening in some places. Very high ceilings. You can see these slowly turning fans everywhere, and there's just this scent of jasmine in the air. You can see that there are people dressed in a lot of European style, Western style, but you also can tell that there's definitely some local garb as well. And you go up and you try to book your rooms, which I would say with all of your money kind of pulled together, you probably won't have too much of an issue. The only question I want to know is, do you all get separate rooms or do you group up?
no.
Shall we
Definitely not
split a room
separate
there,
rooms.
Sawyer?
Oh boy.
Oh, you know what? I got this one. I'll get a room for us both.
Okay, so I'm writing this down. Will plus Patrick forever. Got it. Okay. What about
And
the
then
rest
the
of you?
girls?
Okay. All right. Okay. So the rooms themselves, very spacious, high ceilings. You are well attended. Multiple people help you carry your bags, your things. Maybe it gets awkward as they grab certain things they shouldn't. But you are led to your rooms, same floor, we can say, but not necessarily adjoining. The rooms themselves, wooden floors, large windows. You're getting a relatively warm breeze as the weather is not cold, even though it's January. There's a decent warmth to it compared to where you just came from in Arkham. Very ornately carved furniture here and there. You can see the bed is draped with these linens, and you can tell that it also similarly has this sort of 4-post kind of deal to it. And you can tell that there's fresh flowers and such in the various corners, giving each room a specific scent. Maybe orchids or something like that on a nightstand. And you are all within the lap of luxury. This is a very luxurious. This is probably the most luxurious hotel you've stayed in so far in the campaign.
Ever in Marie's life.
Okay.
Now, this is how we start. William, peculiar about how stuff is arranged. Try not to make a mess.
No worries. I'll keep my side tidy. You keep your side tidy. We'll be all good.
Let's catch up with the others. See if they settled in.
Okay. So we will then say we'll meet over in some sort of suite maybe that the women have, and we'll say that's where we can kind of plan what you guys want to do. So let's actually have a plan. What is your plan? It's middle of the day.
Supposed to
There's
plan?
still it is an investigative game. I hope you all have been reviewing your notes and you know why you're here. It's not a vacation. So what do y'all want to do?
Whip out a map in some of the notes we've collected. I think we know a couple names and locations.
Yeah.
Well, walk me through what you know. Let's go through this. Let's talk it out. It's been a while. It's been I know it's What do you got?
We know that in Savannah, our attackers had their advance tickets purchased by Daniel Lohman of Bangkok from Imperial Airways, so we could try to track down Daniel Lohman. I assume we're going round table, or do you want me to go through the whole list? The list provided that I'm just reading.
And on top of that, we can
Yeah,
keep out
thanks so much, Mel.
Yeah. Let's go round
for
table.
those
Go ahead.
people
Go ahead, Patrick.
that have those tattoos because they could be in the area.
Okay. Go ahead.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
All right. So that's 2. What else we got?
Back in LA, we found a broadside advertisement in the pocket of a guy Johnny killed in the Nectar Den.
Yes. you did.
That was in Thai. We had it translated, and it was for a fragrant honey shop in Phra Nakhon, Bangkok.
It's a district. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually a location that's been pointed to with 2 different clues in Tramel's Testament as well. So there's like a couple links pointing to that. So should I start there or end there?
Well, and specifically, we knew to tell the doorman, I have come to join with the Circle of Excess. That was in Tramel's Testament. I believe you informed us all of that, Dr. Key.
Yep. And then we also knew that Jonathan Brooks sent their first record to Tramel by way of Bangkok, and that a shipping record of 30 Dela Luz albums by Daniel Lohman was sent to a specific address.
Yeah.
That's all we have. A location
That's
of
a
a tea
street
shop.
address that we have, though. We should check if that is the fragrant honey shop or something else. Then it might be the same location. Just
we'd have to look it up.
So the address that we
So,
have
Patrick,
on
if
the
you have that map out, maybe
Mhm.
we can do that.
So I want to point out, you don't have that map. So that map of like specific street locations and addresses is not something that you have access to. So that's not a thing that is in your belongings, nor would you have been able to find like a kiosk like we might see in modern times where you can grab such a thing. Navigation across Bangkok is going to be a little bit more complicated than that. And while you do in fact have an address for like Lohman, and you have in fact heard of a business called the Fragrant Honey Shop, and you know the district it's in, the specifics of where to find those things is less clear to you. Doesn't mean that you can't find it. It just means it's not going to be so easy. It's just like pulling open a star map and pointing a finger. It's going to probably take you searching around, going through the various ins and outs of alleys, talking to various people you have access to at the hotel, things like that. So it's not going to be just like a quick hop, skip, and a jump. It could take some time to actually locate some of these places. But those are 2 leads for sure. Anything else we can think of? That's not a leading question. I'm just asking.
Dr. Key, I believe, or Shaima, perhaps, I think you had informed us that it was Imperial Airways was the name of the airlines that Mr. Lohman had booked those tickets on for those rapscallions that beat us up in Savannah.
That's right. I think that's the thing Steven mentioned just now. Am I misremembering?
Just that we know the name of the airways.
Right.
The airline company.
Right.
Yeah, it's a good. They might be, part of it, or at least have been infiltrated by cult members, possibly.
Yeah.
Because for all we know, it's like the #1 airline in Siam, or it could be a small company.
Well, I think the people would likely be a better bet to fall upon, because I imagine that like extensive tattoo work is pretty unusual. Yeah, like I think more than sort of, because we don't really have the details except for like the departure date of the flight.
Yeah, it might, if we run into dead ends at some point, we may just want to see if there's any. This is just an airline like any other airline, or if perhaps like Mr. Kearns, their services are set aside for a select few.
Well, we have 2 big locations. Siam and Ron.
Siam's the whole country. Yeah.
And then the area of Ron Nakan.
Yeah,
So a particular district.
In terms of locations, you have two that you can probably reliably fall back on. One of them is a specific address, and that is the address that at least has the name Daniel Lohman. You've seen that pop up in a couple different ways. You saw that come up, his name come up when you were looking into Savannah travel, and then you also have it on a Bangkok shipping record from Mexico City. The Fragrant Honey Shop, you had a crumpled broadside, like I said, but all it did was reference like a district. It didn't so much as like reference a specific like locale. And I think those are the only two locations you have. The tattoos and things like that, you know that visibly, but you wouldn't have like a location tied to that per se. Imperial Airways is a British airline. It's a real airline. But that doesn't say it, but they do fly here, obviously. But that is something you could potentially look into. So with that all laid out, what's your plan? Also, none of you speak Thai very well. The best is Beverly, and that's not even passable. So that's another thing to concern yourselves with.
We've got a hard address. I say we go for the strongest lead first.
Isn't that address allegedly what we believe to be Daniel Lohman's residence, though?
It's what was on the shipping record. So it's where the 30 De La Luz albums were sent to for Daniel Lohman. So I suppose we don't know.
We don't know what it is. It might be a studio, given what we just saw in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
I think reconnaissance should be definitely high in our priorities. We have a tendency to jump in feet first without, so perhaps reconnaissance would be in our favor.
You mean if we say that we're going to stake somewhere out, we should remain seated and watchful?
Okay, so we did stake out
this is
Mexico City before walking into the ambush. We did stake it out first, so that it's not a foolproof plan.
I'm just saying,
Okay.
It definitely shouldn't be like Trammell's house where we're like, hey, we're gonna just walk up to the door.
Or Marie with a gunshot wound that's like, let's go stake out this apartment. Or just go wandering around.
I mean, I feel like there's nothing wrong with knocking and saying hello. I'm still all for this plan. We've had good success with that most of the time.
I'm not so sure the balance of that is all good.
I
Dr.
think
Key,
step one is
good point.
figuring out what that address is, and then we can figure out step two.
I think just getting a lay of the city, honestly, because if we spend a day here, then we get to do a roll to improve our tie a little bit, and just kind of figuring out like where exactly is this district, where exactly is that address, and just kind of doing
maybe that's what the rest of the day is. It's kind of just getting over the jet lag, asking the concierge for help to kind of plot this stuff out, buying a map. Maybe
I'll book us a tour guide. Someone can show us around. So I'm gonna look to see if anyone could share us around city or chauffeur us around city.
Okay. So are you just looking to try to just buy the best person? Or are you looking to find, like, are you concerned with expediency? Are you concerned with knowledge? Are you concerned with discretion? What's an ideal hire for you?
Obviously someone that could
discretion.
Speak
Do
Thai.
interviews.
I think there's a good chance anyone you hire is going to be able to speak Thai. So that's definitely going to happen. That's a requirement, I would think. What's desired qualifications?
Just something leisurely. Like it doesn't have to be
Okay.
point A to point
Someone
B.
who's fun to be around.
Timeline.
Do they like jazz? Because we're talking about jazz a lot. Okay.
Do they like long walks on the beach?
if all you're doing is trying to get hire a private car service, not an issue at all. That is something your maitre d' down in the lobby can handle for you without issue at all. And if you specify that you want somebody who is fluent in like native Thai, and someone who also could potentially translate for you, absolutely no problem. Do you ask at all about anything else? Or are you, like, when you go down to the lobby, Patrick, or are you just purely trying to hire a driver?
I'm just purely trying to hire somebody.
Okay. Easy peasy, no problem. We'll say eventually all of you will come down.
Before we go, yeah. Marie would like to have a conversation with the front desk. Okay.
We'll say, because it's going to be easy, we'll say you get a British expat who's just like, oh, yes, madame, what is it that I can do for you? Is there room up to your standards?
It is the most luxurious room. You have a fine establishment.
Well, in fact, it is not, but if you would like to upgrade, we do have opportunities, if that's available. Your mustached friend said to give you the middle of the road, whatever that meant. But if you would like an upgrade, we can certainly do it, though.
Yes.
It's considerably more.
No, thank you. Thank you
if
very much.
If price is an object for you, of course.
This is so absolutely beautiful, and we're very well situated and comfortable at this point. The view is lovely. Thank you. Very much do appreciate it.
You are quite welcome. What else can I do for you, madam?
Yes, I was wondering if I might. How do I say this? I'm not saying this to toot my own horn, as it were, but I'm a bit of an entertainer, and I do quite a bit of traveling, and from time to time, I have some fans who don't necessarily take no for an answer and have known to follow me from place to place. I'm sure in establishments like this, you're used to famous people coming by and desiring extra security and confidentiality.
Indeed we are. Are you famous?
In some circles, not local yet, though, and she'll grin as she does.
So you are concerned that some of your fans, from wherever it is that you are famous, might have followed you here to Siam?
Yes.
As you attempt to expand your entertainment arsenal.
And she winks without directly answering the question.
Is there something wrong with your eye, madam?
No. And she blushes and sees this is going nowhere. I would just, if you could be so kind, if someone were to come asking about the group that I'm traveling with, I would ever so much like to hear about that. Is that acceptable?
Are you under the impression that if someone came asking for you, that we would not contact you and let you know? What kind of places have you been staying in? The hospitality of your former stays leaves much to be desired. Yes, if someone comes calling for you, we will certainly let you know. Is that all?
Well, this is, as you've said, the other places that I have stayed have not necessarily had the full service that you provide here, and sometimes the things need to be asked.
I get the impression from your gentleman friend that you all were unaccustomed to our level of luxury. Well, it's nothing to be embarrassed about, but is there anything else then? You just wanted me to let you know if you had any messages. You have no messages so far.
Well, yes, thank you. My guess would be that someone might come asking for us and not be as polite as to leave a message, and I would like to know that as well.
Yes. We don't get that sort of riffraff here, but if some should come by looking for you, rest assured we would take great interest in the type of attention you are bringing to the Oriental, and we would take steps to ensure that attention does not continue.
Well, I'm so very comforted that you take my safety and security so very seriously. Have a
You take the
fabulous
safety and
rest of your-
security of the Oriental and all of its guests very seriously, madam.
Marie is understanding the not so subtle undertone of that communication, and she will thank you
Okay.
very much.
You are quite welcome. Enjoy your stay and good luck on your attempts to become famous here.
Well, thank you. And she sort of does a little exaggerated sort of like curtsy and walks away.
Okay. So now that is cleared up, anyone else have any last business they wanted to do at the hotel before you hop in the car and start driving?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Long.
Long's ready to go.
I was deciding.
Okay. Do you have something?
No, we're good.
All right. This is a save point. So, all right. So
Jeff will remember this.
you all hop into your car, and we'll say you drive around for a bit. You specifically wanted the address, right? Is that where we're starting, or were you just sort of driving around for funsies?
We wanted to check out the area around the address. Yeah, like do some
Okay.
recon, see if we could figure out like what kind of was it a business, a home, that kind of thing.
All right. Since you hired, I'm just gonna assume you kind of gave the address over to your driver, who would be able to tell you that it is in fact residential, and it is in basically the Bohemian district of Bangkok. Specifically, it would be to the north, not very far. It would be maybe about 5-6 kilometers north of where you're currently staying, so it's not that long of a drive. So they would be more than happy to take you there if that's your wish.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right. So eventually you do find yourselves kind of headed off in that direction. The Bohemian district, so if you're unfamiliar, what I mean by that is that it's more along the lines of like where a lot of the artists and musicians and like relatives of aristocrats and such that kind of live in Siamese out country, where they actually live here. And it's a relatively decent neighborhood. It is not necessarily as swanky as your hotel, but it is a relatively decent neighborhood. You do, however, notice that most traffic in the area is foot traffic, and so the fact that you are driving around does actually draw a little bit of attention. Your driver doesn't seem to care at all, as they are driving around as if they own the place. And you so as long as you don't have any issues with occasionally having people kind of look at your car as it drives past, they are more than happy to drive you right up to the address if that's your desire.
Is there any businesses nearby?
Are there quite a few businesses indeed? There's many storefronts and restaurants, tea shops, bookshops. If you're interested in visiting several modest,
Any
attractive
record
Buddhist temples.
stores?
Record stores.
Music shops nearby?
Well, we do have bookshops and boutiques. It's possible to find what you need there, madam.
We'd love to explore the storefronts. You could drop us off.
Yeah,
Pick
of
us up at a
course,
later
of-
time.
Of course. Yes, sir. You have me for the full day. I can leave you right here, and I can pull the car around to a small spot, and you can gallivant around and enjoy the time. That's what you prefer.
Perfect.
And he's
Thank
like-
you so much. And I
He's
give
like
him
this. Yeah, he's like this stuffy like Brit with like a big old bushy like kind of graying mustache. And he's like, thank you very much. And he let you out, and so you guys can start moving around. He kind of directs you, and he points to like a couple of different landmarks, so you can easily find your way back to where he is parked. Obviously, you all would have difficulty reading some of the shop signs and things like that, but you would be it'd be very, very easy for you to sort of work your way back. But yeah, you can just sort of wander around. What are you looking to do?
Do we go up and knock?
No, we're just gonna recon the house, see what kind of
How else
activities
do you
nearby.
recon?
Who hired this guy?
Walking by and using our eyes.
Bev would like to, if we're near the shops, see if she can find records to see if we can find Della Luz's records being sold nearby here.
Okay.
Just to get a lay of the land.
Sure. Give me a luck test.
Charmel will go with Dr. Key.
Okay. So the two of you are going off by yourselves.
Bodes well.
Okay.
73. I need a 70. I can't spend luck on luck.
Unfortunately, you can't find a specific record shop in the area. You do find, he's not wrong, you do find a bookshop, and they do seem to sell some small sampling of like records here and there. But as you flip through them, you do see a lot of like Western fare, but you don't see any De La Luz items, no.
Okay.
Okay, so that's Shima and Bev who have gone to a bookshop. Will, Sawyer, and Patrick, did you two just go over to the address for Loman?
You'll catch us up with us later, right, ladies?
Marie's coming with.
Marie's coming.
Yeah,
Okay.
the two of you.
Okay.
Yeah. And before we leave, Bev is like, we determine like a meeting spot.
Okay.
We'll be at the residentials. And we'll
All
head
right.
that direction.
Yeah,
Okay.
Walk the block.
Sure. Okay, so when you head over, you can tell, first of all, it's a townhouse. So the address seems to correspond to that, 2-story, small couple of steps that walk up to it. You can see that there are several similar in sort of shape to it. It's kind of got a winding road. There are definitely people coming and going on this road. People kind of going down the alley here and there. That kind of weaves behind this place. It again seems like a fairly nice neighborhood. You would imagine living here, you would probably have to have a decent amount of money. You do see a mixture of definitely kind of like European folk, but also you can see kind of more people who you might expect like locally within Bangkok itself. It is relatively busy. There have been multiple times where you've passed by a window and you've heard maybe music coming out, wafting through an open window. You often look inside maybe a cafe or a shop nearby, and you can see people are sipping tea, and you can see these fans kind of spinning around. But overall, it looks like a pretty nice neighborhood. I think probably any of you would probably be more than happy to live in this kind of neighborhood. It just looks like a kind of a nice neighborhood, and you can see there's there are these small little groupings of like manicured gardens that it seems like the neighborhood has kind of kept up in some sort of stead. Doesn't look like anything out of the ordinary at first glance.
So where they received mail, let's see how they did it, and I'll look out for how this residence actually receives mail. Anything obvious?
You do notice, so there are 2 doors. So if you kind of I'm giving you credit for like a full surveillance, I figure like kind of looking in the back, looking in the front. You do notice that there are 2 entrances into the townhouse. There's a front door up a couple steps, and there's a rear door again up a couple steps. You also notice a couple windows, balcony on the 2nd floor as well. And you notice that there is there does seem to be like a, actually, that's a good question. Hang on. I wasn't really sure about that answer, so let me look it up. I was going to say like they might just have a slot in the front door, and maybe like there's the sort of travel. It's like that kind of neighborhood. It's a fairly, but I don't know the answer to the question like historically accurately. So that's just me kind of riffing along.
Okay.
You mentioned that there were some tea houses sort of in the area. Is there a tea house that would give us eyes on this house? Like, would we be kind of down the street and we'd be able to see if anyone kind of went up the steps and went into this home, that we could kind of sit and it's like the townhouse itself doesn't, like, it's not really hidden in a corner. It's on a corner. It's like you can very easily find vantage points if you wanted to observe either the front door or the back door, or split up and do both. You could probably do that without trouble. Whether you're kind of sitting down in one of these small little kind of garden areas, or whether you're actually at a storefront and sitting down and drinking tea, or like flipping through whatever they might be selling, you could do that. Well, boys, I might set myself at that cafe over there. It looks lovely, and looks like I would have a good eye line to the front door.
we'll join you.
I'm more of a coffee person. I'll head around back in the townhouse and find a vantage point there.
Okay. So the party splits up 3 ways. We've got Marie and Patrick sitting down in a tea house, in a small, we'll call it like a cafe out front.
Sure.
Someone comes over to take your order. Is a little bit of a struggle. Maybe a neighboring patron helps you out and you're able to get some basic drinks. Will, you go around to the back, and you can tell that like you're not too far away from water where you're at. Like you can kind of see between some of the other townhouses that kind of backs up, it looks like, to a river area. But you're otherwise just kind of waiting around in some area that you think is relatively unobserved. So go ahead and give me a stealth test.
I had a feeling that would come up, and it makes me sad because Pastorwood had great stealth.
How is
good
Will's stealth?
That helped him.
It came in handy a lot. I rolled a 52 over 40. I will spend the 12 luck to turn it into a regular success.
Okay. So it's a 40 total, right? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So what we're going to say is like early afternoon or so. By the time you get over here, you can, as you're watching, first of all, you notice no one go up to the front door. So those of you that are, so Marie and Patrick in the cafe, no one goes up at any point in, let's say, an hour. Will, it is probably about an hour of just boredom for quite some time. You hear the sounds of maybe like a stray animal kind of shuffling around here and there between the townhouses. And then you finally notice something. As you see a pair of individuals, they got like working class clothing on. It could definitely look like almost like a kind of stevedore kind of outfit. They kind of look like dock workers in a way. You see them walking up. They start to pound on the back door, and you hear them shout, "Loman!" They're just kind of shouting up, and one of them steps back from the door and kind of shouts up towards like the upper levels, and they come over to the window and kind of knock and kind of shout again, and you can see that they're fairly disgruntled looking, and they bang on the door again once more, but there's still no answer. You said a 40, right?
Yes.
Okay. They don't seem to notice you. Kind of crouch down or hiding in some small section where you're like maybe around the corner of another townhouse looking, but no one ever comes to the back door, and you don't ever see any activity in the windows to suggest that someone's come to the window either. What do you want to do?
I'll wait until the dock workers leave.
Okay. And they're probably doing this for maybe a couple minutes, banging on the door, calling out. You can tell like they look at each other like they're conversing. You can't quite hear what they're saying to each other from your vantage point, but you can tell. And plus you can, like, they're speaking Thai. And eventually, after looking very frustrated, they turn around and they start going back the way they came.
I would wait a bit, and then I would try to catch up with Price and Win.
Okay, so you go back out to the front. You find where Win and where Patrick and Maria are kind of sitting outside of this sort of sidewalk kind of cafe in this area, and you're able to fill them in. I want to check back in before we continue with the three of you. Just check back in with Shaima and Bev. You looked around this bookstore, maybe one or two of them. You kind of flipped through some of the music offerings, limited, but there are some. And you, at no point, Bev, are you able to find any signs, at least obviously, of De La Luz, unless they've done sort of repackaging, but it doesn't look like it from what you can tell.
Gotcha. Would they perhaps have a map of the area that we could purchase?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not going to be a thing.
Okay.
Sorry,
Gotcha.
in this location. It's more going to be like kind of following around and asking and getting directed. It's more going to be that kind of locale.
Okay, yeah, then I think the only last thing that Bev would do is just speak with one of the shopkeepers to get pointed to what they consider to be like popular spots within the area to visit. that isn't necessarily a tourist spot, like something authentic that they would recommend.
Okay. Roll a tie test.
Okay. Wish me luck.
Oh, you did some tie studying. That's right.
5%? What are you at?
5.
Okay, here we go.
Better than the rest of us.
Yeah.
41. How
You-
badly
Okay.
do I
You
wanna
got luck?
pass?
36 luck.
That's a lot of luck.
For
That's a lot of luck.
sightseeing.
Okay. You can spend it if you like. It's up to you. Really, what's going to boil down to is the tone of the person's response as you ask for something, and then they try to help you, like whether or not you're making again like a faux pas or something. It's essentially what it is.
Gotcha.
It's not life or death. It's just a question
Yeah.
of okay. So they kind of point you vaguely, or maybe they call somebody else over to help sort of translate here and there. And it's like you can find other people. It's like you can find people who speak English, you can find people who speak French, but definitely it's not like the primary conversing language in this area. But you are eventually given if you wanted something authentic. There's like kind of a river. What's it called? Sort of like a river market where you can see like different river boats kind of come up and converge, both on the sides. And so there's a little bit of that. So like that would be a place that you could potentially go. That's within relative walking distance.
Okay. Perfect.
All right. Shaima, anything you up to?
Nothing particular, thank you.
Okay. Then we could go back.
To the meeting spot.
Do you want to catch up with them? Okay. We'll say you arrive right as Will shows up, as it's been an hour, and maybe the 5 of you now are out in this cafe. And what is it you say, Will?
All right. Two looked like workers, laborers of some sort, came up to the back door. They were calling for Loman. There was no answer whatsoever. I don't think Loman's in there. I think the place is empty right now. If we want to look inside, this might be the time.
Did they
No
have
activity of-
tattoos?
I didn't really notice tattoos, but they were wearing long sleeves.
Okay.
So they seemed interested in speaking with him. They seemed upset.
Yeah, they definitely wanted him. They were banging on the door, yelling for him.
Oh my.
Well, wasn't it at Trammell's, right, where the people were brought in the back who were looking for nectar?
They might have been looking for something, but they didn't really seem like they were being brought in by any means. It looked like they were chasing him down.
Oh.
I would have guessed that he owed him money.
Okay, so either he's not currently inside, or he knew that he was being looked for and was not interested in making it appear as if he is home.
Maybe. I didn't see any movement in the windows or anything like that either, though.
We haven't seen much either. If no one's home, this is our window. Any of us want to go try and get in?
And Marie gets a sinking feeling in the pit of her stomach that we said that we were going to stake out somewhere, and
We did stake it out for a whole hour.
Difference is last time it was very clear there were people there with a lot of heavy artillery, and you're like, let's go in. This time around, just saying.
so Marie again wants to just make sure that no one is keeping an eye on us as we've been sitting here.
Give me a spot hit.
This is just what I'm going to do. It's just everywhere we go.
Nothing wrong with
My
it.
head is on
That's
swivel.
perfectly fine. I think
Pastor
that
Wood was
makes
doing
sense.
the same thing in Mexico.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That is that's a 1.
It's horrible. It's a 1? What? Would you?
Yes.
Holy
It's a
crap!
1 under 72.
It's a 1 under 72. It took you a long time to figure out that.
Is it
was
a 1 or a 100?
Yeah, that's a
I'm
good
using
question.
The fancy dice that, while I do have my glasses on, it still takes an extra second for me to read the numbers on them.
Oh, yeah.
I can tell you with great confidence, you are certain no one has been following you. You are certain that no one seems to be kind of like staking you guys out or anything like that. once or you do get some people looking at you from time to time. Like, you are a noticeable group of people that's kind of standing out like a sore thumb, but you don't get the sense from them that they are looking at you with any negative intentions.
You also get the sense that Will was spending the last hour hiding in a bush, and he is really antsy to do something.
Just landed in Bangkok and already breaking and entering. Who's with me?
Let's go.
Okay.
You're welcome to sit here and give us a signal if you see people going.
Okay, I'll do that, says Sharma, remembering that she almost had a murder rap a month ago.
Okay. So Shami, you're going to stay back and you're just going to keep an eye on the front door?
She's gonna keep an eye out, and I don't know what the signal will be, but we'll be looking.
Okay.
We establish some type of bird call or something.
Okay.
Whippoorwill. I just watched 3 videos the other day.
Yeah. Patrick and Will, you are breaking in. Shima staying back. Bev, Marie, what are the two of you doing?
Marie's got real high spot hidden. So
Useful inside.
yeah. As long as Shima and Bet someone's
I'll stay
staying
with
outside.
Shima then. Yeah.
Okay.
If
And
you're
you've got decent spot hidden to see if people are coming up.
64.
Okay. And we've got some
Okay.
boosts. Thank you. Just saw we got some extras. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Aaron dropped you guys some. Yeah. Okay. So 3 of you that are doing the
We
breaking
split
and
up
entering.
again.
Oh, this is fine. I never mind splitting up a code. It's fine. Okay. The 3 of you that are breaking and entering. How are you breaking and entering? What's your goal?
Know how
What's
to
your
pick a lock.
Done a few myself.
The
Okay.
back door seemed pretty well protected.
There's
I
any
say we go that
windows.
route.
The backside too, yeah.
There are windows
are-
back there.
There are definitely some smaller windows. So you've seen 3 doors in. One door is the front door. You see one door is the back door, and then you see a balcony door on the 2nd floor, and then there are a couple windows. Yeah, windows.
Start around the back.
Okay, so you start around the back, and again, it's that alleyway that Will saw. It's not as trafficked as the front of the house, but there are people who periodically come by, and you do hear the sounds of voices and things like that. So like it's not like a completely obscured view, but you can come up to it, and if you just check the door first, it is very clearly locked. And Will, you would have seen them like jiggling the handle too, so you knew it was locked. It's definitely locked.
Would Marie need to do a secondary spot hidden in this alley to see if the stevedores hung out or anyone seems to be
you
watching
rolled a
us?
1. I'll roll it over. You're good.
Thank you. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Doesn't appear that anyone is watching us if you gentlemen want to proceed.
All right, give me a moment, and I'll try to lockpick it.
All right. Give me that locksmith test.
This works so well.
Let's
every
go.
time.
It works
We've
so
got
great.
boosts if you want to take any.
I'll take one for Bangkok. My
This
only
is
one.
the only one you're going to
Bangkok.
take for all
Yeah.
of Bangkok.
Yeah. He's a man of standards, you know? He doesn't
So I
just
need
take
a
him.
41.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear that. Say it again.
I need a 41. I rolled a 68. So, see if I have enough luck.
27, I think.
At 27. Shoosh. Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay.
How much luck do you have left?
7.
Wow.
I love this.
Jeff's immediate little smile. Love it.
It's pretty fantastic. Okay. So you open, you do manage to, you're fiddling around with it. Marie, hawk eyes everywhere. Like you're just looking. Anytime someone even remotely gets close, it's just, and suddenly you guys are just standing up, talking, etc. And then finally you hear Patrick clink, and you know that you've got it. And your locksmithing tools have not broken either. So already you're off to a much better start than your relationship with Pastor Wood. Okay. Door, you push it open, and you can see it opens up onto what appears to be some tiled floors. And you can see like they're kind of glossy, glistening, but otherwise in sort of decent shape. You don't see any any sort of dirt or anything or smudging. There's a little bit of light still coming in. It is at this point like late afternoon, as you guys have been like staking stuff out and stuff. So it's late afternoon. Evening is very near. You see immediately to the right on the inside of this, there appears to be a bath area. And then you can see just a little bit further down this tiled hall, there's what looks like some kind of kitchen. And then the rest of it is a little bit out of your view just from peering in.
It's clear so far. Let's take a look around. Head towards the kitchen.
You two take the ground floor, I'll take the top floor.
Sala.
Okay. And so, Will, you're upstairs. Patrick, you're downstairs. And then Marie, you're just kind of floating, or is there something in particular that you're going to be doing as well?
I'll stay downstairs. I would say she's splitting her attention, looking around in a room and then looking out a window and then looking around in a room and looking out the window. So she's staying downstairs.
Okay. Going through the kitchen, Patrick, it's the first you can get to. Nothing really stands out to you other than the fact that this is a very clean place, very fastidious. There's definitely signs of like dishes and glasses and, all that kind of such. So it does look like this is a lived-in place. Everything's very clean. Everything's kind of orderly and kept in its place. But going through it initially, like, there's nothing that stands out to you that suggests anything kind of abnormal. Marie, if you're still on the first floor, maybe you slipped then into the living room, which is towards the front side of the house, which is where the front door would go in. And again, I'm going to roll over your spot hidden because it was a 1 and there was really nothing to give you outside. So I want to give you something for an awesome roll.
Yeah, heightened alertness.
Again, the furniture. I was thinking that too when I was describing the alleyway. I'm like, what did we do with the cat? Does Frank Kearns just have your cat now? Is that all this is?
Poor Frank. She's going to be throwing up all over him.
You look around in the room, in the living room. Again, furniture is, you can tell, is probably handcraft, finely made, like local. Everything looks like it's, again, higher end stuff. So this definitely has the look of a man who is cleanly, fastidious, and also lives well. Not wealthy and opulent, but well. One thing catches your attention, Marie, is that there is a basket. Like, it looks decorative, but as you peer over, you notice it's a little bit askew on the shelf that it's on. And considering how everything else in here is in such perfect order, the lines are so perfect, that little tiny bit of like the askew, the shift, probably catches your attention. And when you peek at it, you notice it's because there's something strapped to the basket underneath it. Like there's something that's been taped underneath it. What do you want to do?
Is this basket a particularly heavy basket, or is it something that I can pick up on my own? Okay,
it's a wicker basket, yeah.
Okay, then Marie would pick it up and nose around.
Okay. You can see that there is a black scrap of cloth that has essentially been taped to the bottom of this. And you peel it away, and you notice there are bundles of cash. Mostly they are 100 and 1,000 notes, local cash, local currencies. Do you have accounting? What you're accounting at?
Do I have accounting?
Everyone has accounting. It's just a question of whether you have
25.
Okay. Give me a quick roll of it so you can farm a roll here.
I'll take an audience boost. It's just going to be 35. So
if you take that audience boost, though, that means you can't potentially increase this.
She doesn't care about increasing it.
Okay. I mean, some of us care about growing as people, but I guess Melissa doesn't. That's fine. And that's pretty fair. She's the exact person I met 20 years ago. So. Yeah.
It doesn't matter either way. I failed.
Okay. Okay.
So it's
I was asking if you could do the math in your head for how much that actually was in sort of US, like what you would be like US currency. So you're not sure, but it's mostly bundles of $100 and $1,000 notes that you can see. Again, local currency. So that's one thing. It may be you obviously can call Patrick's easily in earshot. So while you think about what you want to do with that, second story, Will, you notice essentially has 2 bedrooms. There is a master bedroom, and then there is a guest room. Is there one that you go to before the other?
I would take a look in the guest room, and if it just looks like an actual bedroom, not an office, I would go in the master bedroom.
And then when you kind of push the door open a little bit, you notice that it is a converted office. There is a teak desk that looks relatively bare. There is a small clay oven that's sitting on top of it, on top of a metal stand that's sitting on top of it. A couple drawers as well. And then there is what appears to be like a teak, like matching desk chair. So you definitely see that.
Yeah, I would definitely start looking through there. And I was going to say this before Marie even found that. If there's anything that looks valuable, Will would be pocketing it.
Okay. This desk looks valuable. So how big are your pockets?
So I'll put that in my pocket. They're really big pockets.
Okay.
I have a 10-foot pole in there.
Really? Wow. That kind of joke? Wow. I don't even, that's it. We're done for tonight. I'll see y'all. Okay. So you're for checking out the desk. So I'll say one of the things you notice is, first of all, when you come over, there's like this little clay oven. There's a lot of ashes inside. And you can see that it's mostly ash, but occasionally you can see like a flake of paper. Like you would probably guess that he probably burns a lot of paper in here. You start going through the drawers. Most of them are empty. There's definitely like writing utensils and things like that in here. But there are what looks to be like a small notebook. But when you open it up, it's mostly empty. Like you don't see anything in here other than like what looks like very mundane like shopping lists and things like that for like groceries and such. But then you do notice that folded into the back and like sticking to the back page of this notebook, there are 2 pieces of paper that you can easily remove. And I am going to share with you the first 2 handouts of... I know you do.
You do.
Okay, so let me make sure I get the right ones. One of them appears to be a telegram, and one of them appears to be a bit of note, like a handwritten note, like of instructions. And you can tell that they go together because they're kind of like dog-eared together. So let me get those for you. Man, I'm going through our clues thing, and there are so many things that I never got to share with you guys.
Oh,
tisk.
Goodness. There's so many things we've seen already.
Maybe next time we run. Okay, I'm going to show you the telegram first, Will, if you would like to describe it.
Yeah, it's a telegram. It's covered with an ink splot. It looks like it's addressed to Daniel Lohman. It says, urgent, deliver without delay. There is a bit of an address there that's covered by the ink, but I think we can make out most of it. Also covered by the ink, it has a date on there for 1936, likely October. And it is the Worldwide Electrical Printing Telegraph Company. The actual contents of it, and it's from, it looks like Savannah, Georgia. And the actual contents of it read, Henslow and Job contacted. Beverly Key, professor, wealthy and well-dressed. Marie Wynn, musician, red hair. Zephaniah Wood, pastor, glasses, gray hair. Patrick Price, barber, mustache. Shima Oberon, student, formidable.
So for those of you who don't recall, Henslow, Douglas Henslow, was allegedly involved with Walter in the original investigation. He was the one who, I think it was Shady Pines was what it was called.
Yeah.
Joy Grove Sanitarium, excuse me, being treated by Dr. Lawrence Teague.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it would be Job, like Stephen would know, it would be Job, not Job.
Yeah.
My bad.
Then the note that's attached to this, that's dog-eared to this, Stephen, is what I'm sharing now, if you would like to read that as well.
Yeah, so this one is handwritten, and it says, alert Walker in Los Angeles. If suspects are still in Savannah, have them killed. Either way, our agents are compromised. Pull them out Arrange for replacements ASAP. Signed, SS.
And so as you go through the desk, this is the only thing of interest. That kind of like everything else just seems extremely mundane, like just writing utensils, paper, nothing that kind of makes you even raise an eyebrow, and you don't notice anything of value other than maybe a very nice fountain pen. Would you like to take the nice fountain?
Take the. You said it was nice. Is there anything else in the room that looks like it's worth searching?
This office definitely looks fairly sparse. There doesn't look like he's got like a bookcase filled with things. It's just this desk in the corner underneath a window, and that's it.
Yeah. Just one more cursory look and then head towards the master bedroom.
All right. So downstairs, you've got this money. Patrick, I'll say you've gone through the kitchen. You've gone through maybe the back bedroom. You've noticed basically nothing that would kind of catch your attention as being out of order. When you come into the living room, you notice that Marie has this wicker basket in her hand and she's looking at some wads of cash. There also is a very large and ornate looking trunk in here, set into the corner. That's the other thing that you would notice in the living room. So Patrick, what would you do?
I'll go check out the trunk, see if it opens at all.
And it does. It's a quick open. It's not locked or anything. And you see inside of it, there is a wind up phonograph inside. And there's also several records that have been slid off to the side. Most of them seem untouched. And you can see it's one of those phonographs that's kind of got a lid to close things down. And you could probably pull this out of the trunk itself if you wanted.
Take a quick look at the records, see if anything significant pops out.
You very much notice the sleeve for the De La Luz album that you have seen before, both in LA and in Mexico City.
Got something, Ray? It's the record.
Marie is very careful to put this basket back with all the money in place, just as askance as she found it.
Okay.
Because her goal was to make this place look like no one had been inside. So everything's going back.
You don't know what he's doing upstairs.
I don't know what he's doing upstairs. So
Do I have to start saying take your earbuds out whenever Steven? Really, guys. The animosity between you is really getting a little bit distracting.
I carried your luggage and you're leaving thousands of dollars under a basket?
Okay.
So then Marie would kind of join Patrick over by the trunk and the records.
Okay. And you absolutely recognize it for sure. And I would say if you flip the lid open on the turntable, you would notice that the record that was last played is sitting there, and it is the De La Luz album. So Patrick's got the sleeve for it, and you can see the record is right there. And it is very much the records that you would probably correspond to that order on the shipping label. But there's only one copy of it.
There's only one. Okay, that's what I was going to ask. How many were there of the 30 that were shipped? Okay. And then does the sleeve look any different than the sleeves that we've seen before?
No, it looks identical. Other than maybe like some wear or tear, it looks identical to what you saw when you were going through Mexico City.
Okay.
It's the same production from Nova Records. You're confident.
So Marie would look to Patrick. Seems exactly what we've seen before. Nothing new, unfortunately.
Just confirms our suspicions.
Agreed. And there were 30 sent, and there's only one here, so 29 have found their way out.
Not much else down here. See if Will's found anything.
Okay. There's a large sum of money, so he is definitely doing well from all of his endeavors here.
Money, you said. Hey, you taking it?
Didn't plan to.
I don't mind me then.
Do you take it?
Yes, it's cash.
Okay,
so all of it, or just some of it? Do you just pilfer a couple bills, or?
How noticeable if I took some compared to all of it?
There are bundles of cash, so it depends on how much you want to take. Do you have an accounting? Do you have accounting?
To deny the enemy of their resources.
Only 10. But I'll still take like a third.
If you want to, if you want to take a third of it, okay. Of course, it's a third, so you make the math hard. All right.
Maybe a quarter for easier.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Okay. Got it. Okay. If you join Will upstairs, you catch him as you're going into the master. Is that fair?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You look in the master, very much like you've seen elsewhere in the apartment, fastidious, clean, orderly, etc. If you all split up, you start going through nightstands and things like that, and you start going through drawers, you find clothes, etc. There's one discovery, and we'll say it's Patrick. You find underneath the bed what looks to be a wooden box, lacquered, of decent size. It's not as big as a trunk. It looks more like a box, like almost like a very big briefcase or like a traveling suitcase kind of deal, and you can slide it out. It doesn't appear to be in like particularly terrible condition. It looks well cared for, and you do notice there is a lock on it.
Got something here. And there's a lock like a number.
Valuable. Can't believe how poor this guy is.
There are things you could take, like little trinkets and things like that he has displayed. Definitely, he seems to have engrossed himself within local culture. You can see that there's these beautiful masks of some kind hanging down from the wall that Will's probably not familiar exactly what they are, but you can see he's got them displayed along the sides of his wall, here and there. Do you take those too, Will? All right. I need a locksmithing test.
Okay. I crit failed, I think. 98.
Good.
98.
This is what Long does.
Okay.
Crit fails lockpicking.
Patrick.
As you're trying to use your locksmithing tools, they once again snap on you. And more than that, you create this long gash where one of your tools snaps off and you just scrape this hideous, deep scar into the wood. You're pretty sure you could force this open if you wanted to, but your tools did not open it up in any particularly easy way.
Why do I keep buying these tools? They're so faulty. I'll just bust the lock open then.
Okay, so you bust it open. At this point, you just pry it, crack it, and you see that inside there are several dozen vials. Some have labels, some do not. Some are in a certain kind of shape, some aren't. A few of them look to have some Thai script on them that all looks identical, maybe like a manufacturer's maybe like a manufacturer stamp. You see a few, Patrick, and anybody else who's looking, very familiar because they look very simple, very clear, and you can see that a few of them are wrapped up in a small box, but it's not like it's more like a shipping box, right? And they have an LA shipping label on it. And then there are these other vials that are squarish. They're made from some kind of bluish glass, and like 3 of them are empty. And you also find folded into it are 2 pieces of paper. I'll go ahead and share these with you as well. I think there's 2. Hang on, it might just be 1. I'm sorry. Let me make sure I get this right. Yeah, just the 1. Sorry.
Marie would indicate to Will that this is the nectar that we spoke of when we were debriefing previously.
Yeah. So you would definitely recognize the type of vials that were common in LA. But these other 2 are unfamiliar with you. 2, in fact, one of which has a Thai stamp on it, and then there are a couple of them, I should say. And then the other ones that are like square and blue tinted glass, haven't seen those either. And there is a note.
Perfume bottle type thing with the like.
They look a little bit like a perfume bottle. They do. And there is a note that seems to go along with those. So I'm going to go ahead and share it. Melissa, you want to read that for us?
Okay, it says, Daniel, Montgomery Donovan has sent these samples from Malta with his compliments. He has made great sacrifices to improve their production, and it seems that his efforts have been rewarded. The streets of Valletta are overflowing with sweet honey. If this alternative meets with your approval, We can begin ordering your personal supply directly from Malta. It would be considerably cheaper than shipping from Los Angeles and would further wean us from Trammell's insanity. As for Thawi, I encourage patience. He is angered that you reject the fruit of his labor. He does not understand why one would wish to sate any thirst but that for blood. And we actually have a name now for SS, Santry Siricon. Sorry.
No, that is not. I'm sorry. That's not what it says. That's not the name. I should say. Let me get you the actual. That's not how it's pronounced. I mean. Okay, so the name. So you see a Sawitri Siricon.
Sorry.
And then you see Tawi Udom. Or Tawi, I should say. You don't even have the last name on it. So
Tawi.
you see Tawi.
I already wrote it down.
Got it. Thank you.
Cthulhu comes out of the ocean, kills you. You don't remember. Okay.
It just got
So while you guys are doing doing that, we're going to go back outside onto the street where it is sunset. It's very beautiful. Shaima and Bev, you two doing anything in particular while you're just sitting here drinking your tea?
Shama has been keeping lookout and specifically sort of on the side of the house between the front and the back entrance. So she can kind of keep an eye on both entrances.
Okay, there's no position you could take where you could see both doors. So it's either going back into the alley like Will did to see the back door, or it's staying kind of on the front street to see the front door. You could see part of the alley and part of the road, but you couldn't see the doors if you went down the side of the house.
Got it. All right, thank you. In that case, I'll choose to stick by the front door.
Okay, so by the front door? Okay, good. Bev, what about you?
Bev is staying near the cafe, and she's just kind of listening to see if she hears like Daniel's name while keeping an eye out for anyone approaching the house.
Okay, are you just listening?
So sorry, in that case then, is the seating at the cafe, can Bev see the front door from there?
Yes, she absolutely
okay,
can.
in that case, I'll go and make sure I'm at the backs just so that they're both covered.
Okay, so you basically take the same position Will was taking earlier, and then Bev is taking the same position Murray and Patrick were. Perfectly fine. Bev, if you're just, are you trying to prompt or are you just listening?
She's just listening.
Okay, then you don't hear anything.
Okay.
Yeah, like you're just sitting here and people randomly talk about whatever it is they're talking about. But both of you can give me a spot hidden.
Because what is my listen? Because even if I prompted, it'd be bad.
It's just that you're yeah, I wouldn't even roll a luck test on it because I just feel like it's so random to just randomly hear it that, you know, unless you're doing something to create conversation about it, why would anyone just randomly be talking about it?
I think she's mostly focused on watching to make sure they don't get approached.
Yeah. No worries.
So Bev succeeds, 52, needed 64.
Shama as well, 45 under 78.
Okay. Little thing. Okay. Shaima, once or twice you notice on the second floor windows, you see your fellow investigators suddenly become clear between the seam of a curtain, but otherwise you don't see, and then you do see occasionally some people moving past in the alley, but none of them seem to really pay much attention to the townhouse, and none of them even look up at the windows. Otherwise, it's pretty much all clear back in the alley in the half an hour or so that you're waiting back here. Bev, you also occasionally see kind of a ruffled curtain or so on the second story or something like that, especially when Will went over towards the desk of the guest house. However, at a certain point, Bev, you do notice there is a man that walks down the street and then turns to go down the pathway towards the townhouse. And again, when I say that, he's like walking along the street, and then all he does is turn down the walkway that goes up to the front door of the townhouse, and you see him immediately turn. He's not moving at any amount of speed. He's just casually walking, as far as you can tell, about medium height, white guy. You can tell he's relatively, taller than some of the others he's passing, but he's still kind of of average height. Sandy brown hair. You can tell that it's got a little bit long, but it's not like particularly like something hanging down. But as you can tell, it's been a while since he might have had a cut. He has these very pronounced glasses on, these kind of large shell frames, and he doesn't really seem to talk to anyone as he passes. And he's just making right for the door very casually. You see him kind of reaching into his pockets as well as he does.
We will try to intercept him. With a, hi, sorry to bother you. Do you speak English?
He turns around and
she's
talking
heading
to me?
over. Yes. Yeah.
Oh. And he comes up and you can see he kind of fixes his glasses a little bit. Oh, I do. Yes. Yes, I do. Can I help you?
Yeah, my name's Cheryl, and she reaches out a hand to shake his hand.
Oh, hi, Cheryl. I'm Daniel.
Nice to meet you.
He shakes your hand, just hangs on to it for just a touch too long, and then he lets it go.
Yeah. I was just here visiting, and I want to find a local and find like the good hidden gem spots of the area. I was just hoping I could catch someone who could give me directions.
Oh, give you directions? What kind of host could I can take you? I have nothing else to do right now. I was just kind of turning in for the night. So if you wouldn't mind a little company, I'd be more than happy to show another. I mean, is that Northeastern? Is that, let me guess, Boston?
How'd you guess?
Just got an ear for it. I'm more of a Western guy, California for a bit, but yeah, I'd be happy to show you around. You want me to? Do you mind?
That would be lovely.
And he kind of like holds out his arm, as like a gentleman might. And then he just starts kind of steering you.
Or see any of this?
Absolutely not. You are completely the alley. You cannot see the front. I'm sorry. And he steers you away. Yeah. He steers, you whether you steer him away from the townhouse or he does, the two of you start walking away down the street, past the shop, and out of sight of everybody. And that's where we're going to end for tonight. And we will pick up on that so that we give Ashley an opportunity to make a new character.
That's fine.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Uh-oh. I definitely appreciate Ashley not using player knowledge to know that he's read Beverly, key. Like I appreciate that you still went up and because you have no idea that he knows who you are because you didn't see the telegram in that.
Because one of Beverly's things, at least that I had in my notes, that she would do was not throw her name around as much because in Mexico she was kind of known, so that's why I threw out.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. I love it. Okay, well, we are into it already. Here we go. This is great. This is fantastic. Okay. So yeah, that's the end of tonight. We will go ahead and we'll pick up next week. Remember, for us, we're not doing every week. I know it's been a while. We're not doing every session rolling. So we're going to do like a midway point for you'll do your improvements and then we'll do one more at the end. Okay. So, let's go ahead and do some closing plugs and we'll get on out of here. So Steven, let's hear what Maitre has to say. Maitre, where can we find you on the internet?
I am a plays games on YouTube where I make system agnostic or multi-system content about tops. That's another Demon Planksmans that you should check out if you feel like checking that kind of thing out.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Link is in the description if you're listening to this on the podcast feed. If you're watching this on YouTube, check the show notes, check the description. You will find links to everyone's stuff in there. And then Maitre, let's see what Steven has to say. Steven, what do you got?
I'm working on a tabletop RPG called Huckleberry. If we get Zoom to show it here. It's a Weird West game. It is out and available right now on drivethrurpg.com. And it is getting some decent updates pretty soon. We've got some cool stuff in the works. Everyone who grabs the PDF now on DriveThruRPG gets all of the updates up until we exit early access. So you're not going to miss out on anything, and you get to join us for the ride. If you'd like to play Huckleberry, I'm going to be posting some sessions in our Discord that you can sign up for. It's completely free to play. You don't have to own the PDF at all. And I will teach you how to play the system. You can decide if you like it. And there's really no reason not to be on the Lollygagger Discord, because that's where all the cool people are anyways.
That is very true. That is very true. There are a lot of cool people on there. I am not one of them. I left it earlier today. I just kind of got fed up with the memes, so I'm out.
No, Jeff, I kicked you. You didn't leave. I kicked you.
Stop it. You don't have that power.
Good gracious. You too.
Good kick me. Anyhow, us two, really, us two. Our stuff doesn't interrupt play. Ours is just playful banter.
I was nice today.
You were. Somebody else wasn't. Just saying.
It's a one-sided grudge.
All right. As for the rest of our stuff, what do we got next? Monday, very excited. Other Escape. I'm a big fan of this game, and we're still kind of getting our handle on it. But I really love it, and I like the world that we kind of generated in our session 0, because we are down in Arizona Bay. It is cyberpunk. It is sort of like it's a mythic cyberpunk, and we're down in the 8B. Right, Melissa? Yeah. How do we say it again, Melissa? How do we say? Oh Jesus, that's not like she said it on Thursday. Arzio, she's like down in the AB, and like meanwhile Jeremy and I are like the AB, like badass, and she's like AB, and we're like, oh, for Christ's sake. But yeah, we're in the Arizona Bay because California has disappeared into the water, and we're going into Southern California, so I'm very excited about that. Tuesday, Steven, what are we doing?
We are playing Star Trek Adventures in Lollygagging. We're going back to our last mission was a sequel to one of the TOS episodes, and the party's in some hot water, so we'll see how they get out of it.
Fantastic. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a dice situation. We're in a bit of a situation. It's a little trouble. Let's see. Thursday, we got more Arzium as we're, I think Steven joined us on Thursday, but we should have everyone back. Aaron should be ready to go again. They just totally forgot him. They just totally forgot Mac. It's crazy. But come by, watch this. I really enjoy that game. There's a lot of cool little mechanics, very light, whimsical setting, and it's one of my favorite board game designers that are now starting to look at the tabletop. So come check that out. And then Friday, you can see the same crew that you currently see right now playing through Delta Green, as we will, in fact, finish Arizona. It will happen, guaranteed, one way or the other. If I have to nuke you all, I'm going to nuke you all. But we're finishing.
Only way to be
all
sure.
right. Okay. You ever notice whenever I talk about Delta Green, this is what happens to Long's face. He's like, ha ha ha. You ever notice that?
It's super serious.
No.
Yeah, he just
He's locked in. He's channeling Inferno.
it's some weird thing. Like it's some Pavlovian response. Okay. Anyhow.
Channeling Inferno.
Could be.
Summoning fire.
All right. Let's go ahead and do a raid. Let's do Cybernation Uncensored. Looks like they're playing some Cyborg. So we're not playing the same Cyberpunk game, but I like Cyberpunk. It's on my brain right now. So follow the raid. Have a great rest of your night. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
I'll be seeing you.